guys, it's IJW, and today we are going to be discussing negative numbers in binary. So yeah, so if you remember from our previous videos, when we use 2's complement, we know that if our output is off, then we have a negative result. But the thing that we haven't discussed at the moment is what exactly do we do with our negative result? How do we find out what its positive value is? So yeah, so first of all, I think that the simplest way to really see what this means is to just take a negative number with this in 2's complement. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And for some reason I can't flip levers. No wonder. My FOV was down. But anyways, so right now we're doing 5 minus 3, and that's getting us 2. But if we were to do 3 minus 5 instead of this, then we would get a negative result, and we would get negative 2. So yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. As you can see, we have no output, and we have this value right here, which I'm just going to record right up here so that we know exactly what the negative result that we got was. So, yeah. Anyways, now let's talk about how on earth are we supposed to decode this. So now that we know what a negative output looks like, let's just think for a second about what exactly it's going to mean to make this value positive. So, in other words, how on earth would we make a number that's a negative into a positive normally? And the answer, really, is you just make it so that it itself is negative in a sense. So, basically, sorry about that if you can hear that. But anyways, so how on earth do we even have a circuit that can basically make a value negative? And actually, if you think about it, this adder right here, since we haven't actually changed really any of the logic within it, we've just sort of edited it, this thing is still adding two numbers together. It's just that it's adding one of them, which is negative. So that means that our first input right here, our negative input, inverting it and carrying in is actually making it so that it's negative. So let's just apply that to the number that we have. Let's just say that our negative input is this guy. And of course, we haven't actually told the adder that this input is in fact negative, so it is in fact saying that the output was negative, even though we know for a fact that it is positive. And as you can see, it's actually giving us a result of 2. So now let's discuss something that's a bit more difficult to wrap one's mind around. And that is, what exactly does it mean to basically take the number that we got up here, which is a negative 2, and convert it back into decimal. Well, not decimal, but a positive number. Anyways, so yeah, let's talk about that. Okay, so how exactly does this work, one might ask? And the answer really is that all that we're doing is inverting our number and adding 1 to it. So since, if you remember correctly, the way that we make an adder into a subtractor is we invert our negative input and we carry in, if you think about it, then you'll realize that since our first input is staying the same so long as we're converting it from a negative into a positive, well, basically all that means is that we're taking that, and the signal that comes out of this first XOR, really all it is the inverse of our inputs, and that's exactly what it is. And seeing as, once again, this input doesn't matter, because we're ignoring it right now, it makes sense that that would be so. But anyways, after that, all that we have is we just literally carry in, which is basically just adding 1 to it. So that means that by carrying in, we are essentially incrementing our number. So that means that in order to make a negative number into a positive number using 2's complement, what you do is you invert your number and then you increment it. And if you look at our example right here of negative 2, if you invert this, then we get negative 1, and add 1 to it, negative 2. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed, hope you learned a little bit about negative numbers and binary, and yeah, that's it for this entire series, really. Subtraction isn't, it's complicated, but there really isn't much to it. It's just sort of like, sometimes you use 1's complement, but you almost always use 2's complement. And yeah, that's basically all we ever needed to cover. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and see you guys next time.